Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 8 of Space Engineers Noob to Master Road to 10,000 Hours. Yes, that is the actual goal of this, to reach 10,000 hours. That's why I'm not doing. There's like material choices and tech choices I could be making to speed this up and get to bigger ships or bigger projects, but that's not the goal. The goal is the journey. I was having this conversation with a friend at work the other day. We were talking about D&D, and they just wanted to complete every dungeon. They wanted to get a move on. They were frustrated by other players having to take a little time to do their turns. And, I have some of that frustration too, but the goal of it is not to just complete everything. It's not to reach the end. It's the journey. The goal is the journey. The goal is what happens along the way. And so you're going to see some of that here today. We got materials. We've got iron. We're going to go buy some more materials, and we're going to get this refinery ship off the ground, literally, with some humorous caveats. So stick around. Alright, it is time to get this little refinery going. So, let's go ahead and break off the front half of the pod, because I'm going to turn that into material for the rest of the refinery. But then I break down the survival kit and go, yeah, I don't have a place to immediately set down a new survival kit. Not a great plan. Not a great plan. So, we got to do something about that. First, I break the charging station because I'm like, all right, well, I'll just throw it down right here. That'll create a connection, and then I can get my little pod's in the way. So let's fix that by doing what I didn't want to do last episode and trying to flip this guy. Because of course that'll work. It worked so well in my imagination, and I didn't really question it much. So, hey, look, no, let's overbalance it more, a little bit more, a little bit more. Okay, no. Oh yeah, save. Like that's gonna fix everything. All right, unlock, and is it gonna fall? Oh, it's falling. London Bridge is falling down, falling down, falling down. Yeah, about that. So the plan was that it was going to fall onto the flat of the large magnetic plate, and instead it's falling to the side. Yeah. I gave it the good old college try. You can't be upset at me for that. So let's go ahead and not try to destroy every last bit of material that I have and make me have to start all over again. We'll just bring it back down. Gently, softly, like a head on a pillow, very, yeah. It seems that not only did I not get it out of the way for the survival kit, I put it more in the way. So now I got to mess around with this large magnetic plate, and it doesn't seem to actually fix any of the problems. So I'm just like, alright, enough. Let's get rid of it. It falls flat. Good enough. But how am I going to move this thing? How am I going to move this thing so that I can actually start building a vehicle off of it? I got this idea. I got this plan, man. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take off the hinge. I'm going to get rid of it. Then I'm going to get a piston. And if I couldn't lift this into the right position, I'm just going to pull it into the right position. Because if you can't push and have something fall into place, you should pull it into place. Does that make much sense to you? It doesn't make much sense to me now. I think even my past self would have said, that doesn't make much sense. This does not work. But we're gonna go for it. We're gonna go for it and see what happens. First, okay, we need to put a magnetic plate on here. But I need I need it to go closer to the ground, right? So we'll put these blocks. We'll get it close to the ground, and it'll be fine. At this point, there is clearance, so I'll be able to actually put a magnetic plate. Hey, the plan's working. I'm going to be able to put the plate down. I'll jack up the torque on the piston, and it'll pull this whole thing forward, and we'll get on to the construction project. Yeah. That plan's working, man. Plan's working. What could go wrong when the plan is working? Yeah, 2 meters at that angle is not close enough to reach the ground. That's what's not working. So I gotta reverse the piston. I'm gonna take this crap off of here and try to add like another block or two and get me closer to the ground. Because if it didn't work the first time, I just need to try to make it a little bit better, I'll put one block and that'll be good. It'll work after that. Right? It'll work. Oh, well now it's too close to the ground. It's too close to the ground to put the magnetic plate on. All right. At this point, I'm like, all right, tossing it didn't work. Pulling it didn't work. Oh, look, there's the remote control. You know what I haven't done? I haven't done thrust. Yeah, that's what I need to do. I need to put a jet engine on it. Because, of course, putting a jet engine on something that has on what it amounts to like a giant machine and then just power sliding it across the ice lake. Yeah, what could possibly go wrong with that? Well, the good news is one thruster is not enough. But I wasn't convinced. So I was like, all right, well, maybe there's something wrong. Oh, and I discovered that I can't seem to get in radio communication with my pod. But the antenna's there. The antenna's active. What's going on? Why can't I... Oh, hey, yeah, the suit's off. The suit's radio was off. So I fixed that, and now I can go ahead and try out the little engine. See that puff of smoke? Nothing going. It's not enough. Jack up the override. 86 kilonewtons is just not enough to power slide this over the ice. But just like every other part of this project, if it didn't work the first time, we just need to do it harder the second time. So flipping it harder didn't work. Pulling it harder didn't work. But by golly, we're going to put on some thrusters. We're going to hit those thrusters and... Yep, come on. There you go. All right, now it's done. It's good. Stop. Just keep on going, baby. Keep on going. Yeah. Just going to power slide this across the entire darn lake. All right. There we go. Grind those back off. Put those back into storage. And here we go. It's all good. Hey, it is all good. Everything's fine. Nothing's broken. We'll pull out the survival kit, toss it up on here, and things will be fine. Except, what's all those red lights? Yeah, I started noticing this while I was putting the survival kit together. There's some sort of power fluctuation going on, which didn't make much sense because all the wind turbines are connected to this charging station. So why was it losing power? Why was it fluctuating? I got no idea. I have no idea what happened. But I do notice at this point that I am low on ice. So after I get all of this set up and kind of returned back to the previous status quo, it'll be a good idea to go get some ice so I can build up hydrogen gas, because that's going to be my fuel for this vehicle. I would prefer a different fuel. I prefer to use like the fusion fuel or the fusion power. But as I said at the intro, the goal of this is the journey. So while yes, I could just grab the highest tech possible and power this sucker up so that it has infinite number of megawatts of power, that kind of defeats the whole purpose. You know, if you can get to the end game maximal level tech in an hour on a sandbox, you're doing something a little funky. But I guess if you wanted to like experiment, it's not a bad idea. But now it's time to go ahead and oh no, that's right. I'm gonna build the batteries because I'm gonna tear down that battery on the front, and I don't want any more power interruptions. So I'm gonna go ahead and build the side batteries. So add those components to the build planner. I don't know why I said blueprint planner. That was not the right thing. Go ahead, put these batteries on, get them all built up, and now the little refinery will be able to hold a charge while we do other things. I like how it looks. I like how the textures of the blocks are interacting between the refineries and the battery, and they have this sort of like shoulder expansion of the cargo blocks. I really enjoy it. But now I've got to think about how I'm going to power this thing. All right. Yes, I want to make the hydrogen fuel, but I got the mod that prevents me from just sticking an H2O gen and then a hydrogen generator and just going game over. So I start looking at solar panels because I can't build turbines on a small block. And then I look at the H2 generator. It's going to take 200 kilowatts, and that'll make 3 liters of hydrogen gas per second. That seems rather reasonable, at least not knowing how much I'm going to be consuming. But after reading through that and getting an idea, I look at what I'm consuming. 10 liters per second of fuel for 500 kilowatts return. So that means I need about 4 generators for one engine. 4 generators would get me a little over 12 liters per second, but that requires 800 kilowatts of power generation, which I don't have if I'm using one engine. So my ratio is like 1 engine to 4 generators. But if I use solar panels, which make 40 kilowatts per panel, I get 20 of those. I'm looking at 800 kilowatts. That'll passively cover my H2 generators, and then I'll be able to fuel one hydrogen engine, should be pretty much all the time, 500 kilowatts, which should be pretty good. Now I'm looking at the math for materials. I'm thinking, all right, so I want 20 solar panels. Each solar panel requires 8 solar cells. That's 160 solar cells. Each solar cell is about 3 nickel and I think it's like 5 or 6 silicon each. So that's 600 nickel and about 720. No, 120 times 3 should be 360 on the nickel, 720 on the silicon. So I go over to the shop to go buy it, and I'm in luck. I have 1.9 million credits. Nickel and silicon are both purchasable, so it should be pretty easy. And then I get this idea. You know what? Why don't I look at the whole fusion mod pack, the Life Tech energy mods? And what I skip over here is me fishing through the G-bar trying to find the block in the first place. So I saved you all about 5 minutes there. But now I'm looking at this guy. This is the processor, which consumes ice. Then I want to look at the deuterium separator, which does gravel and stone. 72 liters per second and it only costs 1.2 megawatts, so 1200 kilowatts. Now, with that fuel output, I can power 7 generators, or 7 engines, sorry, which should get me 7 times 500 is 3,500 kilowatts, or 3.5 megawatts. So, this is the obvious win. If I just get one of these onto my vehicle, I can power it pretty much indefinitely. I just need stone and gravel, which are really easy to make. I'll probably have to figure out something for the deuterium so that it'll actually continuously produce the hydrogen. But besides that, this should be easy. This is a no-brainer. Except that it's not what I want to do. What I want to do is the low-tech option. So we're going to go ahead and get a solar sail running on this guy. So that's 20 solar panels, 160 solar cells. We're going to have that. That's going to power up my 4 generators for 800 kilowatts. And then I'll be able to fuel one engine that gives me 500 kilowatts of additional power. So 800 passive, 500, what would that be, active? 500 active kilowatts. And that'll be the vehicle design. That's what it is in my head right now. I get more than enough nickel to do the project, and I buy a crap ton of silicon to go with it, because why not? I've got the cash, why not? And since I don't want to mine silicon or nickel, because I really don't want to deal with that crap, I go ahead and just buy a little bit more. And then we can come over here, we can put them both into production, and while they're building, we can disassemble the pod, as well as consider our next step. And here I'm looking a little bit over the power. It's 75 kilowatts per each refinery, times 4, that's about 300, right? 300, 4 times 7. 3 times 7 is 21. It's 28. 280 kilowatts plus another 20, so that's 300 kilowatts. So I should have 200 extra kilowatts on that one hydrogen engine to drive the vehicle, charge the batteries, yada yada yada. So I should be good. Should be no problems. But I do need more ice in order to get the fuel. So while those solar cells are building, I'm going to go ahead and do that. I get in the vehicle, I get all my stuff figured out, and then I check the inventory on my vehicle. Turns out I'm still holding all the iron. So I got to do a little about face here. Vroom, 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 vroom. Turn back around, hit up the pod. Now I got to dump all the iron. And I was like, I'm going to cut all that crap. And I'm going to cut all that crap on the editing room floor. And then we'll come back right as I'm ready to go get the ice. While doing all this, I realized that, right, I need to process that iron so that I have space for ice. So I go ahead and turn on one of the refineries to do iron. And then I set the other 3 to do magnesium. Because I'm still trying to get that 124 liters of magnesium powder so I can get the 4 million credit payout, which is going to be nice. I think I'm somewhere around 70 or so liters of magnesium powder. But now it's time to hit the road. And we are back for the most delicate, the most dangerous part of. Don't go in too harshly. The most dangerous part of this. We need to hook these two things up without detonating. Oh, I made it. We did it. No explosions. Time for a happy dance. But now that that's done, we can actually start to disassemble the pod. First thing I want to do is go ahead and lift this off the ground. I don't know why I did this first. I guess I just wanted I wanted it to be away from the pod. And if it's off the ground, I thought that would be easier. So I'm going to go ahead and set up what is kind of the standard lifting pattern in my mind when you're trying to lift something a long way off the ground. Is you do one piston up, and then you do 2 pistons down. This will give me way more room than I need. But if I wanted to have this be the second layer and have a whole car underneath almost, then this would enable me to build under there, because it'll give me 6 meters of clearance, right? Because each piston extends for 2 meters. So right now it's at the lifting jack is basically 2 meters up, but once it's down, no, I think it's just 4 meters of clearance. It'll give me 4 meters of clearance. All of the solar cells are made, which is good, but I don't have enough steel plates. So I had to go ahead and make those, and now it is time to connect the landing gear to the ground and lift this thing up. And then I see it wobble and go, "You idiot. You forgot the tensors again." I'm always forgetting the tensors, man. Always. But now that that should be set, I should be all ready to chop the pod off, and it should fall down and be out of the way. And I'll be able to break it down, and I won't have to worry about it causing any problems. Yeah, I'm just going to take all these pieces off and throw them in the refinery, and then we'll get to the next bit. Alright, everybody, that's the end of the show for today. Remember to like, share, subscribe, comment about the bad editing, and I will catch you all next time. Cheers.